Ooh, good morning. Yes, pillows and blankets. I'm gonna use a bolster. And before we start our yin practice, we'll tune in and take some movement. So I'm gonna sit on a bolster just to keep my hips elevated in order to keep my spine longest. Otherwise, if I'm sitting flat, it causes my low back to round. Oh, good morning, welcome. So I'm sitting on a bolster to start, just to get a little movement in before we find stillness. Sitting upright and tall. Bring your hands to your knees, close your eyes. We will be using the bandhas today. So right away, as you settle in, engage gently, root lock, mula, bhanda. So it's a very gentle, subtle engagement of the pelvic floor, the perineum, and surrounding muscles. It's a web of muscles, and you can think of it as a diaphragm. So lift and engage. Automatically, almost, the uddiyana will engage. So that's the belly. And there's a little bit more of an engagement there. So as soon as you engage root, the uddiyana wants to help. So draw the belly in and up, belly in and up. The other lock that we'll work with is the throat, and it's the jalandhara. So it's very simple. A slight tuck of the chin. So when you engage these locks, have a mindfulness about what's going on elsewhere. I'm sitting in a cross-legged position with my arms relaxed, my shoulders open, and my hands relaxed. Even though we're using the locks and they'll come and go, keep the breath long, slow, and deep. Notice at the end of the exhale that it's easiest to connect with that. So if that is what happens, if you kind of engage root and uddiyana at the end of the exhale, that's fine. So adding some movement from here, we're going to make circles, and we'll go one direction for a while and then switch going the other direction. So pick a direction, hands gently resting on the knees, and begin to circle the upper body. If you're on a block, this can be a little rocky. So perhaps ditch your block and roll the yoga mat under you, so you're on kind of more of a squishy surface. You can also roll the yoga mat on top of your block. So breathing long, slow, and deep, tune in, circling the body. Nice and easy movements. Chest and shoulders relaxed, hands relaxed. So as you make these movements, it is really up to you if you want to add that next level of bandhas. We use bandhas in asana and breathing exercises, pranayama. And it isn't a rigid experience. I mean, sometimes it depends on what we're doing, but it's a very subtle engagement. Let's go 3 more circles this direction. And before you switch directions, just hold in the center, sit upright and tall. Relax your shoulders, your hands. Take a breath and engage root, the belly, and the throat. Hold. Release the locks and breathe out. Take a few breaths. Switch directions, so circling. There's a lot of spring energy right now. Yay. Longer days. Your body might even be waking you, or your mind or consciousness might be waking you earlier than planned. So what do you do with those early morning times? You have all kinds of practices and really embracing this spring energy and using it for whatever comes to you. So as you circle here, as you get into your hips, your spine, your shoulders, the breath, let an idea bubble forth. Maybe it's using your spring energy to read a book, one of the zillions of books on your shelves, or to contact a friend once a day. Keep moving in circles. If this makes you dizzy, you can have the eyes softly opened. Let's take like 5 to 8 more circles. And when you're done, again, sitting upright and tall. So finish up your movements, find center. Take a breath and engage your locks. Root, belly, throat. Soft exhale. Take some shoulder shrugs. Lift your shoulders, drop them down. Lift, drop, lift, drop. You can breath of fire here if that feels good. Inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. Through the nose. Just a few more. Release. And one more exercise with movement. Bring your hands to your ankles. And this is the camel ride. So it's a seated cat and cow, chest forward on the inhale and round the rib cage back on the exhale. You can take the breath of fire. So the inhale, exhale, quick. You can also keep that pace and move in a softer breath. So maybe chest forward and back, and you're breathing long, slow, and deep. About 30 seconds. Breathing through the nose, either breath of fire or long, slow, and deep. If you're feeling kind of ungrounded, I will suggest long, slow, and deep breath. As you come to the cat portion, draw the belly in. So again, whether you're breathing long, slow, and deep or breath of fire, just a few more here. Last 5. Come to center, sit upright and tall. Bring your hands, palms to prayer. Close your eyes. Take a breath. Engage your locks, hold. This is Kumbhaka. Belly in, take a sip. And gently release. If you have something underneath your hips, move it. We'll come to our belly. Belly, I'm gonna scooch all the way to the wall, knees, shins touching the wall. Because I'm using a towel, I'm going to roll it and bring it under my torso so my forearms can be flat to my yoga mat. So we'll start in a Sphinx position with the shins up the wall. Once you have the position, so I'm pretty snug to the wall. Knees closer together if that feels comfortable. Knees wider if you're looking for kind of the, a passive opening to the front side of the hips. But what that does is it also puts pressure on the SI joint. So if you are prone to tingling or numbness from the SI joint, keep the knees close, just because this is the beginning. We're just starting. Later, it's okay to open the knees more. So with forearms flat, press your palms, fan out your fingers, and pull your chest forward and up. So it's Sphinx with an engaged upper body. Try to draw your shoulder heads back and your sternum, the front of your chest, forward. Lengthen your neck and feel free to close your eyes. Sometimes a little adjustment, mindful practice, guys. If you need to change where your elbows are, do it. Change where your elbows are. Fan out your fingers. Use that contact, hands, palms, the pads of the fingers, to draw the body forward and up. Breathing long, slow, and deep. If this is too much, you can always back off a little bit. We're going to be here for another 90 seconds. Relax the muscles of your face. And anytime belly down, make contact with your belly on the earth on the inhale. Push the floor away with your belly. And as you exhale, lift a little bit higher, lengthening the back of your neck. Lift your crown towards the sky. Breathe steadily. You might feel heat. This is the purifying heat you're creating to help polish your self, the mirror, that transcendental mirror. Okay. In this last little stretch, option to find your tennis ball. So now that our arms are tired, you get a break, tennis ball or two, and we'll take them today under the quads. Quads. Oh, it's kind of hard to balance there. So either one or two, I'll give you a half time. Come back to the Sphinx. Let the belly kind of hang towards the mat. Because I'm on tennis ball, my pelvis is not touching the floor at this point. So know that that's okay. Set yourself back up into Sphinx, shoulders back. Close your eyes and bring your attention inward. And if you're not sure where that should be, you can take a third eye focus. And if you're not sure where that is, with eyes closed, draw your eyes in and up. Lengthen and lift the crown. If you have a single tennis ball, shift it to the other leg. And if you're not using tennis balls, draw your shoulders back and lift your chest. Can you fan your fingers out a little more? Root down, pressing into the earth with palms, wrists, and forearms. Third eye focus. Deepen your breath. Pull your chest forward and up. On your next exhale, soften your Sphinx. Lower, make a pillow with your hands and rest either your chin or your forehead. So as I've said in previous classes, there in the yin world, there's kind of, a conversation about, when to practice, in what order, what is the arc. And, you can sort of argue all of the points. Today I brought in some movement before a very intense back bend. That's a big way to start a yin practice, is holding Sphinx. If you have your tennis ball still under you, reach for tennis ball or both, remove them. And again, rest with your elbows out, your hands one on top of the other, and your forehead on your hands. This is the crocodile pose, Makrasana. Windshield wiper your feet. So you can do that in the Makrasana. Just move your feet side to side if it feels weird to have your toenails touching the wall. Take your feet away from the wall. Do what you need to do. Take a cleansing breath. Sigh it out. Let's take a bumblebee breath. Take a breath and hum it out. Do that again. Springy energy. All right, bring your legs back to center. If you were windshield wipering, lift your torso enough that you can change your situation here with your towel, if you had a towel rolled up. Locate your tennis balls, bring them to your side, and in one beautiful, graceful move, roll onto your back. And graceful is almost a little bit of a laugh, because we have to snug ourselves up to the wall. So do what you need to do to snug yourself to the wall. My hips are about a palm's, actually my whole hand, a whole hand's length from the baseboard. Lift your legs so your heels are supported by the wall and your muscles are passive. If being that far from the wall feels unstable, unstable, I'm gonna go with unstable. You're welcome to scooch a little bit closer to the wall. Let's take hands behind your head, interlace your fingers, just the fingers, so don't go all the way to the webbing. Bring your hands behind the back of your head, open up your elbows, and lift your chin. Just pause here. If you have something happening with the shoulders, if there's any sharpness, take your arms out to a cactus or out to a letter T. And if you're not sure what cactus is, just bend your arms 90 degrees. So your upper arms are coming straight out from the shoulder and the forearms are at a 90-degree angle. So the options again, fingers, just fingers interlaced, back of the head. Cactus arms or arms to a T. Breathe softly. So we've done something like this before, and it is not uncommon that your fingers or hands or arms might start to tingle. And I want to assure you that they will stop once we come out of this brief exercise. But I just want to tell you, if that's happening, if you can just stay with the sensation, just stay with the sensation. If it's super unpleasant, come out. But if it's, mild, you can deal with it, stay. So with chin lifted, the back of your head, either in the fingers or on the floor, turn your head very slowly to the right. As you turn your head, pull the back of your head towards the left. So your nose is toward your right elbow. And maybe the side of your head is touching the fingers or the earth. Once you're there, we're going to hold this position in a passive way, in a yin way. This is tremendously beneficial for the cervical spine and therefore your nervous system. So only go as far as your neck naturally lets you turn your head. Chest and shoulders relaxed. Let go of any eye focus. EYEI. But you could also let go of any I as an ego focus. Breathing steadily. Here, just 30 seconds in, your neck will allow your head to relax. Your skull to come closer to the earth. There is no forcing.
Breathe steadily. Feel the rib cage expand and soften over and over. Can you feel the shoulders, the shoulder girdle, and the upper part of the rib cage releasing? Breathe softly. So as you inhale, can you breathe into the back body? Yes. And as you exhale, can you soften the back body? Can you relax your hands? Let's take 3 more breaths. Long, slow, and deep. Kind of a target of 4 to 6 to 8 counts for the inhale and exhale. To come out of this long hold, you can take your fingers to the back of your head and use your hands to sort of slide your head back into center. So be very, very purposeful and gentle as you bring your head back to center, arms to the sides. Breathe long, slow, and deep. There is commonly a kind of instinct to want to self-soothe, but see if you can be with what's happening. Stillness and breath. Start to make small movements. Circle wrists and ankles. Point and flex the feet. You can point and flex your hands. Take your hands now to the thighs and press your thighs towards the wall. Broaden the chest and slide your hands one at a time from hip to knee. Let's do a couple more like that. Maybe the thumb is included in that slide. So you're cupping around the femur and pushing upward toward the knee.
your level of pressure, of course. Now both hands take just below the knee and massage right there. So it's the bottom of the femur, which is just below the knee here with our legs oriented upwards. Massage around. You can kind of squeeze and even shake, shake, shake. If you need to, you can bend your knees a little bit so you can reach the outer part of the knee joint, the bottom of the thick tendinous material there, the IT. Now let's get the inside of the knee. So yes, you'll need to bend your legs there. Bring the hands to the inside of the knee and squeeze, massage. Tap the knees, inside and outside of the knee, around the top, at the top of the shin. Now cup your knees with your hands, give them a gentle squeeze. Very complex joint, very, very complex joint. Relax your legs back up the wall, press one more time, hands to thighs. And take your arms over your head again. So here we go. Either interlace your fingers, and if you can remember which way you had your fingers interlaced, switch. So it's the non-dominant interlace. And for me, my baby fingers don't quite interlace. It's okay. So again, this is just the fingers, not up to the webbing. Bring your hands behind your head, elbows wide, and settle in. Take 3 steady breaths. Let your shoulders relax. The upper arms relax, whether your arms are in position 1 with fingers behind your head or position 2, cactus, or the third option with arms out to a T. Now lift your chin. So it's not crazy, crazy lift. It's an opening to the throat. Lift your chin. Prepare for the left side neck twist. Take a breath. And very slowly exhale, turn your head to the left, simultaneously pull the back of your skull to the right. And as you settle here, a heartful scan to release, to surrender. Without judgment, let go into the posture. And I say that, you know, with my own experience, I'll be in a mindful state, just sort of quietly noticing. And then suddenly I go, oh, my shoulder is lifting. I need to lower it back down. Why does it always do that? You know, and kind of follow that ego, curious, you know, I'm a Gemini, I'm super curious.
So surrendering that habit for me, for you, you may completely be detached from that. So use discernment as you practice mindfulness. Discernment in all things. Discernment as perhaps your hands start to tingle or vibrate. Because we're acting here on the cervical spine, and some of us have, I'm going to use the word chronic or ongoing neck issues. You know, this is quite normal to run into some tingling or even like a vibrating feeling. Like I said, if you can stay with it, stay with it. When we stay with the difficulty, it informs the practice, and breakthroughs can happen. Nose toward left elbow. Soft focus of the eyes. This is a passive posture, no effort. Deepen the breath. Expand toward the pelvic floor. Expand the ribcage, lower ribs. And as you exhale, softening more. This is a very grounding exercise. Combined with a heartfulness and a conscious breath. This is meditation. Prepare to come back to center. Take a breath. Very, very gently. If you'd like, use your fingers. I'm using my fingers. You can take your fingers alongside kind of the temporal area and roll your head back to center. Bring your arms alongside the body and be with the sensations. It might be helpful to visualize a color or even a brightness of light in the palms, at the back of the neck, at the third eye. Vibrate and project forward, up, back, down. Bring your hands to your thighs. Push thighs towards the wall. Maybe slide hands one at a time from hip to knee. And, you know, you might not quite reach the knee, that's fine. It's the general direction of up. Use your breath. Add the sort of gripping of hand around the thigh bone as you press from hip to knee. It's the letter C. I do this grip in lots of my classes, letter C shape with the hand. Think of this as a lymphatic or even a, you know, deep tissue, depending on how strong your hand grip is. Let's go 3 more to each side. Find your tennis balls or a single tennis ball. We'll take them under the upper trapezius between the shoulder blade and the spine. So one or both tennis balls. I will cue you for the halftime. And start with the arms overhead. I have my hands just barely over the top of my head, maybe a few 6 inches. The back of my hands on the earth, elbows are open. So this is a supported fish, except we're on a tennis ball or 2. And if you're still trying to find the location of your tennis ball under your upper trapezius, it's between shoulder blade and the spine. And if I were to measure, it's like one, if I'm using my index finger, it's like the first 2 knuckles down. So I'm gonna call that 3 inches. Broaden across the chest. So from here, press your heels into the wall, bend your knees, arch your spine, and then relax the spine. Relax the legs. Let's do that again. Press your heels into the wall, bend your knees, and arch the spine. And then relax. Let's do it again. Arch, adding the locks. When you exhale, root lock, belly, and throat. Exhale, exhale, hold. Gently breathe in and soften. If you have just one tennis ball today, move it to the other side. And tennis ball might be a rolled up pair of socks. So move it to the other side, get your placement with arms overhead, elbows wide. Settle. Deepen the breath. How long can you inhale? 5 counts, 7 counts, 12. How long can you exhale? Sometimes these are even, sometimes not. Don't worry too much about it today. And just like we did on the other side, bend the knees slightly, press the heels into the wall, arch the spine, and relax again. And again, arch. And relax. Add a pause at the top of the inhale. Do it again. So inhale, arch, pause. You can engage locks and release. Let's do one more like that. Inhale, arch. Engage root, belly, throat. Exhale, release. Remove your tennis balls, keep them sort of near, and relax again, legs up the wall. Gently press heels into the wall, shift your hips side to side. So you're swiveling at the hip. Press heels into the wall, lift your hips off the floor and swivel. Lower. Thread the needle. Let's take left ankle over the top of the right knee. This might be where you work. If you want more, bend the right leg. So often it requires that you scooch away from the wall. It's going to be a longer hold. Settle in, right foot against the wall. I'm wearing socks and my foot feels like it's slipping a little bit, so I might take off my sock. You know, work with what you got. If you're happy with socks because it's cool in your room, keep them on. Take your left hand to the inside of your left knee, your right hand to the left foot, and just add some movement here before the longer passive hold. I like to press left hand into the knee, especially if you rock your knees side to side. There's this moment where you can apply leverage out. Squeezing right hand onto the heel. You may shake the foot. I know this is a lot, you guys, so keep it simple if it's like, you know, you're happy with more simple. Keep it simple. I'm giving myself that advice as well. But we will be settling in for a longer thread the needle hold. If you're moving, take 2 more rounds of breath. And option to use one or both tennis balls under your glutes. So this position is approximately between the SI joint and the very outermost point of the hip. So you might have to lift your hips to find that position, tennis ball. It may require you moving closer or further from the wall as well. If you want it to be a back bend so that you sort of arch into the spine, bring your tennis balls up higher toward the very top of the pelvis. So remember not to go to the low back. We want to avoid that area today, but it could be kind of very tippy top of the back of the pelvis. This will put the lower part of the pelvis into a back bend. So think your tailbone towards ish the floor ish. All right, and here you go. This will be several minutes. At any point, if the tennis ball feels like it's unnecessary and you're just happy in the posture, feel free to take your tennis ball out and relax. And if at any point you feel like you need a little movement, I'm a fan, add just a movement or two. This is like an intuitive thing of your body releasing blocked energy. Breathing softly. If you feel like you need a breath technique, focusing at the belly, just watch the breath rise and fall. I just took a peek at you guys and I see a kitten joining the class. And I know that there's at least one dog taking up floor space. Welcome the animals as they're attracted to your vibration. They feel the spring energy too. So in this last little bit, you can move your tennis balls, perhaps bend the right leg even more, going into this last 20 seconds. Feel the new space. Feel the new space. Hello, new space. Welcome it in. Take your hands to your legs, and if you need to use your hands to remove your left leg and place it back to the wall, do it.
I encourage you here, before you straighten your legs all the way up, to use your elbows and the shoulders, back of your head, to just scooch a little closer to the wall for the in-between time. Let the unstuck energy move. Let it happen. Let's take a cleansing breath. Exhale, sigh. Let's do it again. This time, engage the locks at the end of the exhale. So as you exhale, draw root, belly, and throat. Soften the belly and release. So notice that direction, the soften the belly. When we work with the uddiyana, have that be sort of a, you know, an intuitive sense that before anything else, before the breath, before you inhale, soften the belly. Let's try it again, just to, repetition is important. So take a breath. As you exhale, engage root, belly, throat. So this is muscular and subtle engagement. Hold. Now soften the belly and release the locks. Let it go. When we do other breathing exercises and kriya, where you're really using the abdominal wall, remember that, because there's kind of a vacuum that happens, and you want to let those muscles be free as you begin to breathe again. All right, let's get the other side. Cross right ankle over the left knee. Bend your left knee. And I had to scoot closer to the wall. You might have to scooch back away from it. I do. Have the pelvis so it's sort of flat to the mat. And depending on mobility, flexibility, injury, this might require that you slide further or closer to the wall. Let's add some movement. Right hand to right knee and left hand to right heel. Kind of just rotate. Move the knees, move the legs. Shoulders are relaxed. So it could be just a simple kind of side to side rocking. It can include the massage to the heel with the left hand. And I'm giggling just because I'm starting to add lots of extra things. Extra is okay. Basic is awesome. So start basic, and if you want, you can go extra. Isn't that funny, this vernacular that has worked its way into yoga instruction? Although I think basic might have a disparaging quality to some, but for
those of us attracted to yoga and asana, we sometimes have, kind of a nature where we need to strip things down and seek the simple. Yes. So basic is good. So if you're making movements, make your way back into a center point. Find your tennis balls if you would like to use your tennis balls. So if you're doing one tennis ball, do the opposite side of what you did on the other leg. I mean, you can do the same side, obviously. If you have both tennis balls, lift your hips up and find that place, kind of SI joint, maybe toward the very tippy top of the pelvis. And decide here if you need to move closer or further to the wall. And you are on the clock. What do you need to do right now? Maybe it's a breath focus. Maybe as you mindfully scan what's happening, it's a relaxation of an area. Remember discernment. The Sanskrit, anyone remember? Anyone? Sanskrit for discernment is viveka. And this is an integral characteristic, an integral way of getting along in the world and inside your own mind, between your ears. Discernment. When in doubt, pause, take a breath. Take the tennis balls out from underneath you and ground back into the earth for just a bit. If you're having a breakthrough and you need to stay in this posture, Please feel free to stay here before returning to legs up the wall. So that would be a practice of discernment. If you like, you can start to press your hands onto the legs or just let the sensations happen. Feel the new space. Feel the heat or lack. Without even thinking about it, take a few breaths and flare your nostrils. The nostrils are connected to emotion. You might feel this is an extra kind of an unusual practice, but try it. Just do it. Just flare. Open the pathways. Now let's hum. You can do it on the inhale and the exhale. Close your mouth and do it again. Point and flex your feet, press your hands to the thighs. So the last posture today will be flat on the floor, mostly. Mostly flat, because I will invite you to use a rolled up blanket, bolster, or block. All the things that start with B. Okay, so this is banana pose. Please bend your knees and roll to one side. Take a few breaths. I'm resting on one side, fetal pose. A simple fetal pose. Belly rises and falls. What does it feel like here to hum? Try it. Why not? Use the top hand and press yourself up. So only to just get oriented. Press yourself up. You're going to extend yourself all the way on the mat. So I'm using a bolster. You could also choose to use your tennis balls, you guys. So banana pose is a side bend.
think the Bikram half moon. So you turn your body all the way. Okay. I need a little water, excuse me. So to get your hips on your bolster, lie down, lift your hips up with your knees bent like a bridge, slide your bolster under your hips. So lie down all the way, bend your knees, lift your hips, bolster or block or a blanket or balls. Oh my gosh, all the bees. Or you could combine the bees. You could do blanket and balls, bolster, blanket. You know what I'm saying. Extend your legs and just be with that first. Be with the Shavasana with your hips lifted. Now, adding on, bring your arms over your head and just kind of loose over the head. Maybe your fingertips touch. Use the back of your head and your shoulders and your arms to walk your upper body as far to the right as it comfortably goes, with your shoulders flat, your pelvis flat. So you might even be off your mat. But again, shoulders, pelvis flat. In other words, do not roll onto your right side. So your body remains square to the ground. Now, slide your legs to the right. Holy smokes, there it is. Okay, a couple options in banana. Option one, you can bend your right leg so your foot is flat and reach your right hand to your right ankle. So this is option one. Option two, straighten your right leg and cross your right ankle over your left. Okay, so those are the those are two options. Arms, I just like this kind of loose, kind of like a genie, I'm going to call it. So it's less cactus and more fingers touching overhead. If you need to go back to cactus or open arms, that's all good, people. All good in the hood. If you have your tennis balls and you're opting for that, you know, settle in because you have some time here. This is banana pose. And you'll find that even here, a minute in, you can walk yourself a little bit more right. Think of your body from your heels to your crown in the shape of a letter C, but no gripping, no C grip. I want you to just breathe and be easy. Simple. Can you relax your elbows, your shoulders? Bring your attention to your belly and watch your breath. Belly rises and falls.
Halfway through, perhaps you walk your upper body even more. Maybe your legs slide more. But if that makes it tense, or if there's a strain, don't do it. Back off. And come back to the breath. If you would like to, you can employ either all three locks, which your throat is already kind of in a passive lock. So either try to engage a couple times your locks and or add a retention. So the retention can happen at the top of the breath, so at the very fullest point of the inhale. And exhale. Maybe the retention happens at the end of the exhale. If retaining the breath makes you feel panicky, don't do it. Oh, the timer, the timer, the timer. Take one more round of breath if you are employing a lock or a retention. Very carefully. Use your elbows, the back of your head, your shoulders to walk yourself back to center. If you feel like you need to bend your knees, bend your knees. Please know that it is normal to feel unstable. There, I use that again. Unstable. I think that's right. Someone text me and tell me otherwise. Unstable, unstable. So no, I'll stop talking. Know that it's normal to feel kind of unstable coming out of this posture. Remove your tennis balls if you're using them. Just breathe. Be gentle. Windshield wiper your knees. Very, very calm, quiet windshield wiper. And let's do the other side. Straighten your legs if they're bent. Honor viveka here, discernment. Honor the sense, the feelings of instability. I know that is correct. As you move into the other side. So use your elbows and shoulders, the back of your head, and walk your upper body to the left. Remember, keeping everything flat to the floor once you're there. Pelvis flat to the surface that you're on. Maybe it's a block, maybe it's a bolster, maybe it's a blanket and or tennis balls. Once you're there, slide your legs to the left. Remember the options, and it might be different side to side. So for the legs, you can bend your left leg and reach your left hand to your ankle. Take your right arm up and overhead. So this is option one. Option 2 is cross left over right. If you have legs straight, arms over your head, your hands in that kind of loose, groovy, loose genie pose. Thanks, Jenny. So Jenny sent me the unstable with pronunciation. Jenny may remember, Jenny has kind of been with me from the beginning of my teaching. You may remember at Simply Bliss one time, I had lay and lie on the brain, and that hasn't gone away. I still haven't quite figured lay and lie out. Lay down, lie flat. And I know it has to do with object and subject. I lay, you lie? No. I don't know. I don't know. See? This is 10 years later and still grappling with grammar. Wherever you are, steady breath. So back to the conversation of basic, breathe. That is basic. Everything else, all of the other things, you know, have discretion over. Whether it's the pattern of breath, muscular engagement, you know, yin, you get to use and explore muscles in addition to the passive surrender. You know, so maybe, and I should have offered this on the other side, I apologize. Maybe you add a teeny back bend at some point here. And then breathe. What does that feel like? And then again, come back to passive. Breathing nice and steady. We're in the last 30 seconds on this side. And as soon as the timer goes off, I need to excuse myself. So I'm gonna set you guys up in Shavasana with legs up the wall. My husband has a Zoom meeting and just asked me to come help him get set up on Zoom. Start to deepen your breath. Uncross your legs, bend your knees. Use your elbows, your shoulders, the back of your head to come back to center. For me, I'm going to keep my legs bent and lift my hips so I can remove my bolster and then lower to the floor. I invite you to take Shavasana just regular with body flat to the earth for a few breaths. just to receive that side bend. After a few breaths, transition and in a special way, in a very purposeful way, turn your body, get your hip close to the wall and lift your legs up. So we can finish in legs up the wall. As always, a great pleasure. I have to run upstairs to help Dino. Have a beautiful and bright day, whatever it is that you guys do. Namaste.